Hey everyone, it's Jason. For today's unboxing, we have My Hero Academia, the collectible card game. This is the two-player rival box of Azukio Midoriya versus Katsuki Bakugo. So this is part of the Jasco Company's UNIversus line. I don't know if they listed on here yet. UNIversus. So it's really neat. This is this is originally used to be called Universal Fighting System, and at some point, I think another company picked it up, or Jasco teamed up with Funimation, and they changed it to just Universe. But what it is it's the idea of these games where you have head-to-head battles with, you pick a character, in this case, Azukia, or you get Midoriya or Bakugo. In this set, you can buy expansion packs and other things that add more characters in there, and they have allies and different attacks. But you're facing head-to-head combat. It's supposed to simulate a lot of... It originally started off with, like, fighting games, stuff with, like, Street Fighter, and then it went into, like, Darkstalkers, and it had King of Fighters, and things like that. And then they branched out some of their own series, and then we got even stuff like that. They've got some Mega Man in there a little bit. But now it's branched out into like anime. It's going a lot more of the anime route versus just a straight up fighting game. I believe all the old cards should be compatible, but there might be slight rule changes. The newer stuff may have like adapted or changed little things here and there, so it might not be 100%. Plus, they might not look exactly the same. They have things in different spots on there. So that's always going to change as well. But if you're familiar with card games, that can happen even with a game that's been out for years. Things on cards can change. Yeah, so what this is it's a versus game. I'm not going to go through the 100% exact rules on everything. I just want to hit a couple of the basics on how the cards work and the different card types, just so when we're looking through the deck, we have an idea. We're also going to look at the end of the video, the DLC, or the downloadable deck content. So they have some of these extra little boxes which just add, instead of buying a booster pack and getting random cards, you can buy one of these and they'll give you other stuff. They do have booster packs as well, so you can pick those up and see what those are. So this will contain 251 card rival decks and 2 random ultra rare cards from the games, 104 total. Yeah, so what we're going to start with, I'm going to set this off to the side for them. We're going to take a quick look at the playfield. So this isn't going to be a full how to play, but I like at least talking about the game, some of the base game mechanics. When we're looking at these cards, you have some idea of what we're talking about. So what we do is we have the big giant board here, which we're going to have our character over here, and they can build cards with momentum at some point, which is basically like energy they can spend. We have a stage down here, we have a deck and discard pile. At the top, we have a life total going across from, it starts at 30, goes down. Now, these cards that say +0, +1, +2, +3, all the way to +5. This is your card pool. So one big way this game works is, if you imagine a actual fighting game, is if your character performs a regular attack, cool, it's a regular punch, they attack. Then when they want to do another thing to combo into it, you know, then they can combo 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different combos, right? And here, if they have up to 6 different spots in here. So this game does simulate the combo system by every time you play a card and you play the next card, you have to check your deck to see if you pass a check, to see if you hit or not. So basically, the more and more attacks you do, the increased likelihood you're going to miss, being like maybe your opponent dodged it, or you hit the wrong button and you floundered the attack and you attack somewhere where their character wouldn't have been in that combo. Like, you can't go, like, if you think fighting games, right, you can't go from a punch straight to a high kick, right? Your body just can't do that. So this is kind of a thing. It's not as strict as that. It's not saying you have to play a punch, kick card. But that's the feel of it. So we have that going on. So there's a little bit of extra thing there, which makes the game kind of interesting that you have that. The other big thing we're going to have is on the cards, they're actually going to have an attack range as well. So if we could just take a quick look at our character card, let's have a couple of different things on there. some health stuff. I'm going to go over that a little bit. But we do have up in the top corner, we have an attack. So this is an attack and defense, and he's at mid-range. If I grab a regular attack card, which are really nice, the attack cards are separated into colors. So attack cards are orange. We have foundation cards, which are helping you build up your momentum. There are other things that happen in the world to help you play more cards and do stuff. They're in gray. And those are the 3 basic cards. Then we can also get some extra character, character cards. So we have basically the 3 types of cards. But the attacks are here up in the top corner. I'm going to show a defense number. So you have 3s, some 1s, some 2s. But they're also going to have the different ranges. So we have mid, low, and we can potentially get some highs. This is going to show what range this particular card, if you're blocking with, can defend in. Then when we have the attacks, it's actually going to show what range it attacks in. So middle, upper. So this also adds in another effect. It's like the foundations don't have attacks, just the attack cards have attacks, and then how much damage they do. So yeah, this is a really neat idea too. So when you are attacking, it plays back in that fighting game element of you are attacking in the middle, your opponent can block better in the middle, they can potentially block with a high or low, but if you attack with a low attack, they can only block with a low or medium. You attack with high, they can only block with a higher medium. So basically doing higher, lower, harder to block. And then different attacks at different range values and stuff like that. So yeah, it's very interesting for those little things. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to show off that. I'm gonna grab this over here. I'm gonna pull up some of the cards. We're gonna look at Bakugo here, and we're gonna look at some of the card elements so we know what all of these things are. So we get into them. So, of course, at the top, we have Katsuki Bakugo up at the top here. He has some different things here. He has a little hand size here, which has 6, and he has a health, which is Zelda. This is your main character. It's who you're playing as, who you're going to build a deck as. Now, it doesn't mean if I'm playing as Bakugo, I have to use only cards that have pictures of Bakugo on them. I can mix and match with any different cards. There are some cards that might give me bonuses for playing him, or are going to work better with him. There are some other deck restrictions I'll get into later, but that's basically how that works. So yeah, your starting hand size is 6, and that just each number of cards you drop got the draw step during each of your turns. Health makes sense. It's health, how much damage you can take. And then over here we have this purple, and we have a 1 symbol, which is your version. So there will be various versions. There might be a Bakugo that's like a 2. There might be a Bakugo that's a 3. That's just show off as different versions. The old version of the game used to use dots instead. They had like 1 dot, 2 dot, 3 dots. So they changed that up a little bit there. Other things to note on the card, they're kind of on a lot of the cards, is up in the very top corner. We have the difficulty. So this is a 6. This is how difficult it is to play this card. This does come into a little bit of relevance for some of the characters. If you want to play them, use them as a resource. And so 6, the difficulty number is the number you're going to check against. So the higher the cost, they usually do more stuff, but they're also going to be a little bit harder to play. Or especially play later in the combo. Over on the other corner here, again, we have our block, shows our block range. We have our text box, we have a 6, we have our symbols down here. So you have 3 different symbols. So every card has 3 symbols used for deck building. So if you want to build a deck, your deck has to contain other cards that have this symbol. Just as a quick shot, so we have howitzer impact. It has all 3 of the exact same symbols, so he can match it. But you only need to match, I think, at least one of the symbols. We'll double check on that. So I think a lot of stuff in here all have the exact same symbols because it was built for this deck. But it does make a difference. So if we look at a card from Izuki's deck, Midoriya's deck, his have 3 different symbols. So I can't mix and match these decks because they're not going to have the same symbols on them. So buying more cards makes more characters, work together easier. Then the other big one is this other big number in the bottom corner, which is kind of always at an angle. And this is your check. You value to check the card when you want to play another 2 types of cards. So yeah, if I want to play something, I gotta check this versus that, basically. Is more or less how that works. And the more you play, that's for that +1, +2 at the top thing. Attack cards are going to be basically the same thing. We have the number up at the top, we have a defense value, but we also have an attack and damage number, for those ones. And then we have the check down here at the bottom, and then you have some other special keywords and abilities in there. And then the foundation cards, which are the other ones, same idea. Cost, check number, says it's a foundation, and we have a defense. So they're all going to have a lot of the same information on them. So that makes them easy to do stuff with. So what are foundations? So I'm going to grab another one of those. I'm going to grab one that's not a foil to look at. So if we have a foundation here, what do foundations do? It says, well, in hand, foundations may be used on the block symbol. So if they're in your hand, I can use it to block for 2. But while they're in the stage or on the playfield, foundations serve the purpose way to mitigate luck during the game by committing cards. So I commit the card, turn it sideways, tapping, exhausting, all them fun turns that have to change for every game. Each foundation commits gives you +1 to that check. So what that means is if I am playing a bigger card, let's say I'm playing this Blast Turbo Rush, which has a cost of 5, and I am checking to see, so I'm going to look at the bottom card of my next card, and this is a 5, I would be able to play it. But if I needed an extra point or 2, I could exhaust my foundations. So basically, foundations are additional resources. They come in, they'll have special effects they do down here. They could be used for defense, but they can also then, when they're in play, be used instead to help you play other cards. So they are kind of like your mana or your energy resource, so they are very helpful in that way. Alright, attacks, I'm going to show this little thing here. So let's grab I have a basic attack in here that's not foil. I'm trying to get some non-foiled cards up here. They're a little bit easier for you guys to probably read. So we have this one, Signature Right Swing. So it has an attack of 3 for upper, and it does 4 damage. So if we look at this, it says, attacks are orange cards. The number in this attack is the speed of the attack. The color will be the zone, and the number of the icon there will be the attack if it was unblocked. Most attacks will have keywords, punch, fury, throw. Some keywords are traits only refer to other cards. Other keywords will highlight such color, throw, such a reverse throw means it's shorthand for a keyword ability. So very simple there. There are 2 other types of cards that we haven't talked about, which are ally cards and asset cards. So these cards come in, so actions are basically one-time use cards. Or they're not one-time use, they're special events or abilities that can circulate back to the game. Abilities on cards are played from your hand. Same time and play similar abilities. Actions stay in your card pool after they are played and are discarded if they check to play fails them. So yeah, you get allies that can come in, help you out, or action cards that can come in and help you out. They're the blue cards. They could be allies. They're different actions. So they're not attacks and they're not foundations, but they're just extra bonus cards that can come out. And then assets are tools, allies, and special occasions to help get a leg up. Assets are similar to foundations, but do not commit them to pass checks, but they do tend to have stronger abilities. So yeah, there's a couple of them. There might be some of these decks, I'm not for sure. So what is our turn sequence? That's the other big thing we want to look at. So we're divided into 3 phases. Just really quickly, we have start phase, combat phase, end phase. So very simple. During the start phase, ready your committed cards. Very simple. So during this phase, you take a ready step, ready all the cards. During the view step, you may discard up to 1 card before you draw cards. This is called reviewing. So basically, you can get rid of a card from your hand, and then you're going to draw back up to your hand size. So, like, Bakugo had a hand size of 6. If I had 4 cards in my hand, and I have one that I'm like, this is too high of a cost, or I don't think I can use this for whatever reason, you could go ahead and discard it. Now you have 3 cards. Now you get to draw back up to 6. So that's kind of a little bit helpful to, like, play with your hand. Then we have combat phase. During combat phase is allow you to attack, and then the end phase. In the end phase, card pools are cleared. To clear cards, move cards from your card pool to other zones using the follow rule. The player's turn clears their first. Go left or right, building any foundations or assets in play during your turn. Add characters from your play to your turn stage. So what you're going to do then is you're going to clear the board off of all the cards you played. So when you play during your turn, all your cards stay out till the end of your turn. then you clear them off. So it's not like play a card and then get rid of it. You gotta keep everything out during the thing. Yeah, and then here we go. So this is just kind of showing some of the combat. It says, did not deal damage, so I have to discard that card. It got blocked. The other ones deal damage, so they go to my momentum phase. So like this attack did damage, so it goes to my momentum, goes under my character, so I can use that later to power up my character. And then like my foundation I played, because I use it still in my combo, it's not just for attacking necessarily, but I use it. And now I just put down my foundation, so I gotta use it again. That's for assets, and some of them cards' actions might go away. Yeah, so playing cards is fairly simple. To play a card, add it to the leftmost empty slot in your card pool. You can now determine the total difficulty. Starting with the top corner, add your progressive difficulty. Just keep adding one. Card pool always goes from left to right. So if I want to play this as passing the torch as a difficulty of 2. So all you do is you look at the discard the top card of your deck to see if it's higher than that number. I had a 2, I needed a 3. So that's what them numbers are. Basically, I'm checking to see if I have enough stuff in my deck to play it. So that's why it's like playing cheaper cards, you're going to get them out more often. Playing higher cost cards is going to be risky. And then it's it's an interesting back and forth little thing there. You need to make a check of at least 2 or greater. So it has to be at least equal. When your deck runs out of cards, shuffle your discard to create a deck, then remove the top 10 cards of your new deck to form the game. You never run out of cards in this process. If you exhausted the game, you've lost. So this is actually interesting because you play too many cards over and over and over, and you keep checking and checking, you keep missing your checks because you're trying to play too high cost of cards. Eventually your deck's going to run out, then you have to reshuffle it, but you lose 10 cards. So eventually your deck will run out, and you will lose the game. This is, a fighting game. Your character gets exhausted trying to perform too many attacks. If you're not playing smart attacks, you are going to lose. So here it's showing a later example. Let me zoom my camera back out just a tad more. And I know I said I was going to be quick on this, and I lied. But I like actually explaining this stuff well enough. So here's trying to show I'm playing Bonds of Friendship, which is the 4th card in my turn. So I have a progressive difficulty of 3 because it hits spot 0, 1, 2, 3. And it's only a printed difficulty of 1. So normally it's a 1, which would be super easy to play. But since I'm playing it so late, I now have to play a 4. And I flip my card over, and I get a cost of 3. So I don't have enough to do it. But now I can commit stuff. So I can commit any number of my ready foundations or my character card to add 1. So I can turn that. And that's why foundations are important. And then you can use them to boost your later cards and make them even easier to play. So in trying to pass a card, you must either commit enough cards to pass the check or no cards. So I can't commit, if I needed 3 more points, I can't commit 2 cards and then be like, oh, well, too bad, I guess my cards are committed. No, I have to commit enough to do it or I don't do anything at all. I'm sure that's going to play some abilities somewhere. There's also the enhanced step. So when you play an attack, enter the combat sequence. Once an attack card successfully played, you'll enter the enhanced step. Start with the player who played the attack. Both players take the turn to enhance abilities. The attacking player decides whether to enhance or pass. The defending player chooses to have, so it can move back and forth. So you get enhance with cards that say enhance on there just to kind of boost some of your abilities up. And there's some other enhances in here that do stuff. Each enhanced ability can only be used during the attack sequencing only once. Everything before the colon is the cost you must pay. So some have maybe some extra restrictions, such as commit, flip, destroy, discard cards, things like that. Abilities that have responses, so you're going to be they have different texts on there for them. So, like here I was saying, enhance, discard 2 cards to draw 2 cards. This might help me gain some extra cards for something. Here we have a response. After this card enters your discard pile, during your opponent's enhanced step, your attack gets +2 damage. So they have some different things there that they're going to do. They can let a response only be met when certain things are done. But just like some responses will have costs, just like enhancement, and these deck responses have no costs. So some might. And then we come to the block step. So now if we're going to block, blocks have 3 possible zones. High and mid are adjacent, low and mid is adjacent to both. High and low are not adjacent. In order to block an attack, the block zone must match the adjacent zone to the attacker. So again, a high attack can be blocked by either a high or a mid, and a low attack can be blocked by a lower mid, and mid can block any, but highs can't block lows. So pretty simple there. You can block this spot next to it. And you only try to block once per attack if you are not required to block, even if you have a card matching a block. So you do not have to block, in case you don't want to get rid of cards in your hand. So we play a card, we have an attack, it's kicking off. So this person's playing this a Bakugan card, which has a 3 attack, attacking high. They're going to block with mid, which has a 2 difficulty to pass, because it's a 0 in there. So you don't have to worry about that. So they have a total difficulty of 5 they have to check for. So this is basically what blocking has to do with everything. So you're still using the whole checking and all that stuff, but so you first play a card. So before we played that foundation, show us playing that, and it just cost us. It had the 3 or the 4, and we needed to get 3 points. Then the foundation kicks off, does his ability. You do an attack, you do the attack first, you do everything in the attack before you play the next card down on the table like that. So yeah, if this was over here, now this would be up to 6 instead. So we have 3 difficulty, but you have a difficulty progress of 6. So that does make it harder. And then the higher defense is going to make it even harder. So this makes a 3 challenge attack or speed attack. You go 5 difficulty. So then here's how you would block that. Blocking example steps. So here we're showing off that stuff. As a speed of 3, high zone with a damage of 4. We have the following cards in our hand. Only 2 cards we can block with our rigorous training and pass on torque. Let's block with rigorous training. I start by adding rigorous training, so we have a speed of 3, 2, and then we have the total of 5, just like we said. Then make a check against the difficulty, taking note which to check, which has a 5. Since the check was successful, the block was successful. So now the thing is, who is checking in this one is not the attacker. The attackers already checked their card to make sure it was available. They played it for 4. They checked to make sure they could play it for 4. Now they're attacking. The blocker has to check their deck to see if they can block it. So we successfully formed a partial block. We took 2 hits from the signature. So it checked for 5 and only needed a 4. So it go ahead and did it. Now what's it mean by partial blocking? When you block an attack, your block zone completely matches the zone, you will take no damage. If you choose not to block or fail to block an attack, you will yourself equal to the total damage. The block is adjacent, will take half rounded up. So yeah, blocking high to high or low to low gets you, or mid to mid, exact range gets you a full block damage. But if you can only block the adjacent one, you're going to take half damage. Yeah, so basically there. So yeah, it's kind of cool how that all works there. And it's also going to be sort of, the thing is, if you keep playing in here, because these cards will stay out, they play another attack, they successfully do it, you have to play another block. Your blocks are going to become harder because you're putting pressure on you. So that does make a difference too. Then we have momentum. Some of your cards will require momentum as your cost. These effects are powerful enough to swing in your favor. So you get different stuff. They'll have momentum costs. This is like discard 1 momentum card. So momentum's were attacks that went through, then they go to your momentum area, and you get it. So yeah, and then here we're showing off kind of an advanced deck building. 1 character, roughly about 30% of your deck should be attacks. The rest should be other cards, your foundations and other stuff. Because if you have too many attack cards, you're not gonna they're probably not gonna have high enough checks on them. And vice versa, if you don't have enough attack cards, how are you going to do damage? Then the 12 symbols. Every card has 3 symbols. All your cards in your deck must match 1 card of the same symbol. If you want to use Midoriya deck using All Might and Echiro Kishima, you must choose a deck playing having a good symbol. So again, all of Bakuga's cards, pretty much, and all of Midoriya's cards in here do not have the same symbol. So you can't buy this set and then mix and match them. It's just kind of funny. Alright, so that's the basis of how this game works. It's just a back and forth battler. I think we're going to do part 2 where we look at the decks. This has been a long video. We'll split it into part 2 in case people don't care about the rules. But yeah, that is what we have. So we'll hop into this and we'll kind of see what each character does. So yeah, come back if you'd like to see what's all in this box and the expansion set. See you later. Bye.